Alright, guys, welcome to Dropping Dimes. I'm your host, Flavo Rihanna, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. Alright, guys, so a lot has happened this past week. We learned the Brooklyn Nets advanced. We already knew that. We knew that they were going to get past the Boston Celtics. We know the Sixers ended up advancing. They ended up beating the Washington Wizards. We also had Utah defeating Memphis. We also had, like I said, Milwaukee getting past Miami as well. That was a clean sweep. I was very surprised about that. Thought it was going to go for 6 games. I was wrong. Milwaukee looks like a totally, huge threat in the Eastern Conference. They look like the most legitimate team that can contend with Brooklyn to coming out of the East. All right, that series is actually going to start tomorrow, Saturday. Brooklyn versus the Bucks. That should be a very exciting matchup. I think the winner of that should be able to get into the finals. That's going to be most likely the representatives of the East. The winner of Milwaukee versus Brooklyn. Philadelphia is going to be facing the Atlanta Hawks. Yes, that goes into the segment that I want to talk about. The Knicks ended up losing in 5 games to the Atlanta Hawks, right? Now, why is this very important? Because the Knicks haven't made it to the playoffs in about 8 years, all right? This is Four Corner Sports NY. And, one of the teams that we primarily focus on is the Knicks. Now, the Knicks, phenomenal season, right? They ended up, were projected to win, I think it was like 20-something wins. Ended up surpassing that. They ended up getting 42 wins, 30 losses, all right? Included in that 72 games, shortened season. But fell short. Did not play to the level that they were playing in the regular season. Reason why is because, in the regular season, they were playing hard. Knicks were playing hard, all right? But in the playoffs, everybody plays hard. Everybody, hits it to a different gear, all right? There's going to be a lot of adjustments being that are going to be able to be made, all right? Nonetheless, Nate McMillan is a great coach, and he knew that what everybody else in the NBA knows. Julius Randle and RJ Barrett always go left. They always go left. They never go right. They always go left. I don't care what RJ Barrett says that he's right-handed. Then go right-handed if that's the case, if you're right-handed. Stop going left. Stop making it so predictable, right? Everybody knows that they could just cut off the left side of the field, the left side of the court, and try to force you to go right, and you'll still go left, right? You'll still go in between, 2 to 3 different defenders, and trying to chuck up a shot. That's not how you're going to win a series, and that's the reason why they ended up losing in 5 games, right? They had a great opportunity of getting game 1. They failed, understandable. They got game 2, got smacked up in game 3 in Atlanta, got smacked up in game 4 in Atlanta, all right? Embarrassing. It was game 4. Very embarrassing game. And then, that's what, I saw that game. I saw like 2 quarters of that game on Sunday. I was like, what kind of birthday present is this, Knicks? But anyways, and then when they ended up facing them on Wednesday, they just didn't have enough good players to make good enough plays, okay? Can't really rely on Derrick Rose to be your focal leader, to be able to get you into the next round. He's already 32 or 33 years old. He's not the Derrick Rose of old or anything like that. We found out that Julius Randle is not a number 1 option. He could be a number 2 option, right? But he would be a very elite number 3 option. The way I see Julius Randle, in my opinion, his best fit would be something of similar of a Chris Bosh. He has the ability of being something of a Chris Bosh. Grab rebounds, bully you down, all right? He could create spacing, all right? He could shoot the 3 ball, all right? He would be elite at that position as a number 3 scoring option, not as a number 1. As a number 2, he'll be very good, but you would want to have somebody better than him in case, things don't go well for you in a certain game or in a certain playoff series. RJ Barrett, the sky's the limit for him. He has the potential of getting a lot better. All right. I know there's some people that say that is not going to most likely be a star or a superstar. But I feel like if he wants to make that next transition into the next, tier, he's gonna have to learn how to go towards the right side. Stop going to the left side. Stop making it so predictable for everybody to know that, hey, we could guard the left side of the court and you'll still go that way, right? Same thing goes with Julius Randle. I think Emmanuel quickly has a lot of potential, but there is some rumblings, right? There is some rumblings because now that their season is over, all right, there's rumblings on like what's gonna happen. Are they gonna retain the majority of these players? I know Taj Gibson, Derrick Rose, they're free agent right now. I forgot who else. I think Reggie Bullock is a free agent, and we'll see what happens with Scott Perry, Leon Rose, Worldwide West, what they do with the Knicks, moving into 2021-2022 season. All right. So yeah, Atlanta is going to be facing Philly. That should actually be a very interesting matchup just because of the fact that Trae Young looked phenomenal. They have so many shooters in Bojan Bogdanovic. All right. They have players like DeAndre Hunter. DeAndre Hunter. I'm thinking of the guy from the Vikings. They have Clint Capella, who looks great, but it'll be very interesting to see how he matches up with Joel Embiid, knowing that he has that torn meniscus. How will Joel Embiid be able to play in this series? All right, Trae Young will be the X factor. If he does everything correctly, if he controls pace, makes you run up and down the floor, that big body of Joel Embiid with that torn meniscus, that does not suit very well for him. I want to see who's going to be guarding Trae Young in that series. Will it be Danny Green, or will Ben Simmons have to take the sole challenge of trying to keep up with Trae Young? Ben Simmons is one of the best on-ball defenders in the league that we have right now. If he's able to stop Trae Young, it could really neutralize the whole Atlanta offense that they have to offer, all right? Because the way that Atlanta goes is the way by Trae. And if Trae Young is able to be shut down, let's see if these other guys are able to knock down shots and be able to do some scoring outside of people like Bojan Bogdanovic and Lou Williams. And we also had in the Western Conference, right? There's a game going on right now as we speak. The Clippers and the Mavericks right now, they're in Dallas right now. Dallas is currently up 3-2. I believe there's like 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Is that game already over? Yeah, this game's already over. Clippers are forcing a game 7. It's 104-97 with 16.4 seconds left in the fourth quarter. This series is going back to LA for a game 7. It's a very important matchup for both Clippers and Mavericks because of the fact that, look, whatever happened yesterday, and I'll get to that in just a second, the West could be wide open. All right? Denver ended up capitalizing what they needed to do. They ended up closing out the series in 6 games. I mean, Dame Lillard had a phenomenal Game 5, but it just simply wasn't enough. That 55-point game performance simply just went to waste, and it was one of the best performances from a shooter that I've seen in the playoffs in quite some time, if not ever. All right, Denver, all right, led by Nikola Jokic and Michael Porter Jr., they look pretty good. All right. And if I'm Denver, all right, and what's it called? Denver has a really good shot. It just sucks that there's no Jamal Murray in these playoffs because of the fact that he had a torn ACL. But getting back to Clippers and Mavericks, all right, whoever wins Sunday's game, right, because they're going to be facing on Sunday, all right, they'll be facing the Memphis Grizzlies. And if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, I kind of want to face Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks, just because of the fact that, hey, Jonas Valanciunas can muscle up in body and try and dominate the boards over Kristaps Porzingis. He is very fragile. I don't think he's going to be able to want to battle the boards. All right, all he wants to be is very finesse. All right, he wants to be by the 3-point line. Only way that works is if he's able to force Valanciunas out of the paint and then guard him by the 3-point line. But if I'm Memphis, I want that matchup between Grizzlies and Mavericks. All right, I know Luka Doncic is the main big threat for the Mavericks, and what you have with the Grizzlies, you have Dylan Brooks, John Morant, you have Jackson, a power forward or center. no, your power forward. You have so many weapons, at your disposal with the Grizzlies. Okay, for them to match up with the Mavericks. The Mavericks have Luka Doncic, Chris Porzingis. You also have Tim Hardaway Jr. But I just think that Memphis' style does not suit well against the Mavericks. The Clippers, on the other hand, can offset that going against the Grizzlies, all right, with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Both those guys can lock down on John Morant and Dillon Brooks and then force somebody else. So that's what the Grizzlies don't want to see. They don't want to see Kawhi Leonard and Paul George locking the two best scorers on the team, locking them down and forcing other players to make a shot. And then after that would work a very well matchup with Zubac versus Valanciunas. I think that would be a battle of the boards. Whoever can get that has a great chance of winning. But with the fact that you have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers, they have the ability to lock down Morant and Dillon Brooks. I would have to give it in favor for the Clippers. But we have a Game 7 on Sunday, so we'll be able to find out on Sunday to see who's going to be able to advance to the second round. But then lastly, we had a game yesterday, the Suns versus the Lakers. This was the matchup that I was very looking forward to. There was a lot of storylines with this one. You had Chris Paul versus LeBron James for the very first time in the playoffs. Okay, Chris Paul has always played in the West. LeBron James for many years was playing in the East, whether it was Miami or Cleveland, and he came to the Lakers about 3 years ago. Okay, didn't make it the first year. Last year he ended up making it. All right, but we had a bubble, and they never got to meet each other in the playoffs because of the fact that the Suns did not get past the play-in tournament. All right, they went 8-0 in the bubble, but they weren't able to get into the play-in tournament and get into the playoffs. All right, and the Lakers ended up winning in the playoffs. They ended up winning their title in the bubble. Now they finally meet. Chris Paul looked phenomenal, but was hurt in Game 1. DeAndre Ayton was a monster against whatever they had to offer with the Lakers against Anthony Davis in Game 1. He was able to hit 90% or 80% in the field goal department. And going throughout that whole series, it was a battle of, can DeAndre Ayton get the better of Anthony Davis, and can Anthony Davis actually be able to do something and play big boy basketball with DeAndre Ayton? Well, he ended up getting hurt. He ended up having a groin injury. I believe it was in Game 3 or Game 4. No, it was Game 4 when he ended up driving in, missing in for a layup. All right, that changed the whole huge outcome of the Lakers dynamics right there, because of the fact that you're forced to play more Andre Drummond and forced to play more Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol runs slow. All right, there's 10-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 5-year-olds that can run way faster than Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol, can't guard a pick and roll to save his life. All right, they were piecing him up, with Cameron Payne and Chris Paul being able to get right by him, and there was no way of stopping him. Andre Drummond, when you have him on the team, it's more like 4-on-5 basketball because he can get a rebound, but that's pretty much about it. If he can't get a rebound or a dunk, he's pretty much useless. And Anthony Davis's presence was very much well needed because of the fact that he could have been able to space the floor, but the groin injury, with a groin injury, you can't really move lateral or horizontal. You're just you're pretty much like a sitting duck, and you're pretty much useless at that point. So Suns just took advantage of the opportunity, and I was very happy about that because of the fact that I'm one that would like to see I like to see parity. All right, and I wanted to see the Suns advance. All right, I did not want the Lakers to advance. Reason being of the fact that I want to see Chris Paul and Devin Booker excel past into the second round, the third round, and possibly into the finals. I think Devin Booker is one of the most exciting players in basketball, and we were able to see that yesterday. Game 6, dropped 47 points, looked like he was Kobe Bryant, at the Staples Center, knocking down deep threes. All right, he looked unstoppable. He had about 30 plus points going into the second half. Nobody was able to stop him. This guy was a bucket. He was a bucket and a half, and there was no stopping him whatsoever. Anthony Davis left early in Game 6. He was absent for Game 5, went in for Game 6, and, Chris Paul, Devin Booker took him apart. They had at one point they had a 29-point lead, almost a 30-point lead in the first half. Lakers built up some momentum in the third quarter, but it simply wasn't enough. LeBron James ended up losing for the very first time in the first round. It's now 14-1 in the first round. Just some things to take away from that game. The Lakers just weren't that good. Frank Vogel didn't use Montrezl Harrell. I think that was a very important player to use in that series, and he just simply did not use him whatsoever. And I don't know what was the purpose of getting Montrezl Harrell if you're not going to use him whatsoever in that series. I mean, he could have been a very viable piece, get you rebounds, to energize the bunny, but you know, you have him on the bench and you have DeAndre Ayton dominating the boards and dominating the paint. And LeBron James in games 5 and game 6 did not shake hands with his opponents. Very classless act. Did not really appreciate that. You're setting a bad example for the youth, saying that, hey, when you lose, it's okay to not shake hands. No, that's not okay. It's about sportsmanship. All right. You know, a lot of kids look up to LeBron James. All right. I may not be one of them, but look, him not shaking hands with the Suns after the game 6 loss, you know, getting beaten in the first round, looks really bad, in my opinion. Looks really bad. It doesn't matter if he ended up exchanging jerseys or signing a jersey for Devin Booker. It still looks bad. You weren't able to shake hands with the Suns opponents because of the fact that they ended up beating you and you ended up looking like a sore loser. Terrible look for LeBron James. Terrible look for LeBron James. Terrible look for LeBron James in Game 5 for leading when the game was still being played, where there was like 5.5 minutes left of the fourth quarter. Even though you're getting beaten down by 30 points, you should have just sat there, you know, took it like a man, and that was it. But you left early and just setting a bad example. Glad he got eliminated. Glad the Suns are able to move on and face the Denver Nuggets. That's going to be a great series. I want to see what Nikola Jokic is able to do against what's called DeAndre Ayton. That is a key match to look forward to. All right. Devin Booker should have his way because there is nobody that's going to be able to guard him. All right. Chris Paul, I want to see what he's able to do. All right. Is he going to be able to control the pace, or is it Nikola Jokic? Who's going to be the better passer out of the two? And I believe the Suns have a great opportunity of winning, but it's most likely going to take 7 games in order to get past into the conference finals. And like I said, Clippers and Mavs, Game 7's on Sunday. Winner faces the Grizzlies. Milwaukee versus the Nets. I think the winner of that makes it to the finals, representing the East. Atlanta versus Philly. I got Philly winning, but barely. I think I might go 6 or 7 games. So then, guys, thank you for watching Dropping Dimes. That is my take going into the second round. The NBA playoffs are here, and they're very exciting. Can't wait to see the second round. So then, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, guys.